Alright folks, let's get one thing clear. In this entire video, we'll be referring to Sam Bankman-Fried as SBF. Why? Because his name is just too long to say over and over again. In today's video, we'll talk about how the former FTX CEO, SBF, is expected to reverse his decision on contesting extradition. We'll also talk a little bit about how he was able to fool the media, so make sure you stay until the end. First and foremost, turns out he's okay with going to the US now. The former CEO of FTX and the disgraced billionaire. Wait, can we still call him a billionaire? Does he have any money left? Because frankly, billions are missing and no one knows where it is. He's expected to appear in court to reverse his decision. What decision, do you ask? Well, it's his decision to contest extradition to the United States. The 30-year-old was indicted in Manhattan recently, all because he's being accused of defrauding FTX customers. Bernie Madoff, is this you? Anyway, he used up customer funds to pay for his own expenses and his debts and to invest in his crypto hedge fund, Alameda Research. And considering all the messed up stuff that he's done, we really don't know why he's consenting to extradition now. Really, because y'all realize that that means he will have to appear in US court to face wire fraud, campaign finance charges, and money laundering. When he comes to the United States, he won't be free. He's most likely going to be held at some detention center in Brooklyn. He's also most likely going to be asked to enter a plea deal, and we're still not sure if he will be granted bail. We mean, look at him. We don't think he's a flight risk, to be honest, just some super smart kid who plays dumb. But still, he's hardly made of the same stuff as some hardened criminals. And this hearing will most likely occur within 2 days of SBF's arrival in the United States. With so many eyes on the case, we don't think the judge is going to be lenient. Next up, law and order. Alright folks, time to brush up on your law knowledge. Because the truth is, just as Amber Heard versus Depp had many so-called experts commenting on it, the same is going to happen here. So make sure you get your knowledge of the law from where it actually matters. Suits. Okay, sorry. Anyway, here's what's about to happen. The prosecution will argue that SBF is a flight risk, especially since large sums of money are involved and no one knows where any of the money is. And according to an ex-federal prosecutor and a white-collar defense attorney, the fact that no one knows where the money is gives the prosecution a very solid case. That same guy predicts that if a judge grants pretrial release, it won't be chill or anything. It's going to be in really strict conditions. Plus, any trial is most probably a year away. Oh, and an interesting thing to note here is that SBF has acknowledged that he and his team messed up big time. They failed terribly at risk management. However, he doesn't feel that he has criminal liability. Up next, why not contest? At this point, folks, we're really not clear why he decided to consent to extradition. Like, he was contesting it, and now he's consenting to it. Maybe an insider reached out to him and told him that the prosecution's gonna be lenient towards him if you don't make things more difficult. Or maybe he fears Bahamian prisons. We don't know yet, but as soon as we do, we'll have a video for you on it. So make sure you're subscribed. So just recently, he was arrested and taken to Fox Hill Prison. No, folks, it's not some fancy hotel. We know the name's kind of fancy, but it's just a prison. Oh, and his request to head home while he waited for a decision on his extradition was also rejected, so there's that. Now folks, remember how we mentioned he might just be scared of the prisons? While we don't know whether this might be the case, the truth is that in a 2021 report, the US State Department stated that the conditions at Fox Hill were not good whatsoever. There was overcrowding, prisoners using buckets as toilets, and rodent infestation. Although authorities have stated conditions aren't what they were, maybe that's why he's just kind of scared to stay there. Whatever the reason is, now SBF is coming to the United States and will sit in trial almost a year from now, which will end up becoming one of the most publicized events of this decade. Emotions will likely run high since so many folks lost so much money. Moving on, America's biggest fraud. Y'all remember those days when everyone was just talking about crypto and how good it was. We saw 20-year-olds with Lambos and whatnot talking about how they made money from Bitcoin. Well, yeah, that's when the hype was at an all-time high. And like the genius that SBF is, he rode that boom and built one of the world's largest crypto exchanges. No wonder SBF was worth a freaking $29 billion. Yeah, like that's a really large number. We don't know if he still has that though. And all of this is happening just way too fast. We mean the exchange just collapsed because of a rush to withdraw, and now he's arrested. According to Damian Williams, a federal prosecutor in Manhattan, this collapse is the biggest financial fraud in American history. While Sam Sam will argue that this happened out of negligence and sheer stupidity, those who lost their money and law enforcement think that there's more to the story. The same guy who called this the biggest fraud is now urging folks to cooperate if they happen to know anything. And yeah, folks are talking. Ryan Salem, a top-level executive at the exchange, has stated that customers' assets were sent over to Alameda to cover up its losses. Now for, how did SBF scam the media? When we mean scam, we don't really mean scam. It's just they really love him. So like, why? How? Anyway, let's get in. SBF was finally arrested. Good. But why did it take so long for authorities to finally do it? We've known for a while he was a fraud. We've known for a while what a mess this is. So what was the holdup? Now, the Bahamian police have claimed that they've done so at the request of U.S. law enforcement. Now, of course, the details of everything that he's going to be accused of and everything that he's done so far will emerge. And folks, believe us when we tell you expectations are high. Even Amazon has announced it's working on a series on this fiasco. That too in partnership with the Russo brothers. So, like, lots of very real people invested lots of very real dollars to try to get rich from crypto. But in early November, we started hearing rumors about FTX not doing so well. Why? Because Binance refused to bail them out, and they stated that they're not doing so because of corporate due diligence and reports of mishandled customer funds. So then seriously, what would you expect would happen? Folks got worried about their money and started to withdraw it as fast as they could, which then led to, you guessed it, insolvency. Now you wonder, why couldn't they just give the money back? Well, as we mentioned, it was because of the whole Alameda using FTX's money to make up for its losses. What's more, the media fell for it. When you hear of these kinds of frauds and whatnot, you just don't picture someone like SBF doing it. You know what we mean. Like, look at all the corrupt politicians. Look at the Wolf of Wall Street or even FIFA's Sepp Blatter. You would never think it's someone like this guy that's doing all these different things. Anyway, once it all went down, thus began the apology tour. He went on to pretty much every media outlet that he could find. In almost every interview, he sounded sincere and he sounded apologetic. He knew he messed up and wanted to right his wrongs. We mean, that's what he made it sound like. He even stated that he did not know of all these things happening at his company. So his entire argument was, I was just so dumb. I had no idea none of this was happening. I'm sorry, but I didn't do any fraud. He was even seen deflecting the blame on Caroline Ellison, the person heading up Alameda at the time. But like, why? Why did the media give voice to his fake apologies? And why did they let him get away with this? Why were they super soft with him? Seriously, journalists who would otherwise destroy a person were just way too chill about the whole thing. Well, some interviewers stated that they didn't know anything about crypto or this business. Hence, his jargon and his use of complex words just confused them, and they couldn't tell if he was lying or not. They also couldn't tell that his explanations were pretty much made up. Finishing up, hypnotized. Okay, look, he's a tech kid. He looks kinda young. He has that innocent face and messy long hair. He didn't look like a fraudster. He didn't sound like one either. He even promised to give away his wealth to good causes. And since they didn't understand his business enough to know what he did or what his company did, they fell for the I don't know what happened bit. Now here's where it gets interesting. A year ago, before all of this, the SEC wrote to FTX because they wanted to determine if the company was as shady as it seemed. However, they never got their answer. Why? Because 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats wrote to them asking them to back off. Why? Well, it turns out FTX and SBF donated to them substantially. So even then, this was a massive story that could have protected folks from putting even more money in the exchange. But it was willfully ignored. The truth is, the media failed. That's a wrap for this video. Do you guys think that SBF actually didn't know what was going on at his own company? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.